John, how do I pronounce that surname?
Rami, yeah.
Rami.
Rame or Rami, yeah. I just say
Rami.
Ram. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, but listen, I've got a habit of saying people's names wrong all the time.
That's
Um,
okay. I've got a habit of not remembering people's name at my age, mate.
Listen, there's people that know me just as Mr. Purple and have no idea who I actually am. So that's quite an interesting problem to have. But we've got aspirations when we hit old age. I've got aspirations to be a grumpy old man, and I don't really need to know anyone's names. Everyone could just have a number or oi, mate.
100%. You've lived through it all. So you just do what you need to do when you get that age, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, we've qualified with the haircut as well, mate. So
I did mine just before we started,
yeah, this is as long as mine's been for a while now. This is as long as it's going to get as well. So anyway, John, listen, I'm keen to know a bit about you. We don't really know each other.
Yeah.
I don't know your backstory, where you're going, what you're doing. And if I don't, no one else does listening to this. So introduce yourself. Tell us a bit about yourself, mate.
So, mate, John Rahm. Now I reside in Canberra. I grew up all my life in Sydney. I moved down to Canberra in 2020. There was a whole heap of the COVID and the bushfires here, and there was a general lack of work, and Canberra had always a lot of work. So I moved down here, and my partner, who now my wife, was living down here in Canberra. So I jumped down there, and so where I am now is I'm in the field or the world of, I enjoy doing a lot of mentoring, helping people reach their outcomes, whether it be sport, business, personal stuff, whatever it may be. And it's a bit of a long journey where, if I go back to, I started weight training when I was 13 years old. I went to a church gym, did there. At the age of 16, lied to my parents and started working as a bouncer in the clubs while going to school. So I did a bit of bodybuilding, then I went into kickboxing. And then about 1999, a really good friend of mine who's a great physiotherapist, they're from Bungarik, got the role of strength and conditioner for a rugby league side back then called the West Magpies. It's the West Tigers franchise. But at that point, there was the West Magpies still in reserve grade and the Balmain Tigers, So I went over to there and just to watch him. And then as it turned out, got me involved doing some work with the players. So I was there for a year or two. Then the Dragons, St. George Dragons, asked me to come over. So I started training with their under 21s, their flag side, in the role of strength and conditioner. And then that was between 2003 to 2004 season. And then year by year, they gave me more teams and more work, And I was still working full time in the construction game as it was. So I would do it before work and after work, do that type of work of strength and conditioning, So while you're there, you tend to build up. You build up really good relationships with the players and the coaches, and you know the ins and out of someone. When they walk in, you could just see if they're on, or you just know something's off, so you just pull them to the side and you just have a bit of a chat with them, or after training. So I left in 2007 because I had my third child, my third boy, and work was just going crazy in the building game, and I had to try to get to either Cogra or to Wynn Stadium in Wollongong by a certain time. So, and then if we were training at Wollongong, it was just I was getting home way too late, So I left that. I was still doing the construction game, but when I left, a lot of the players kept on calling me up, wanting to catch up. They had personal issues. An 18-year-old player broke up with his girlfriend. It was the end of the world for him. So at first I'm a dinosaur. I'll be honest with you. I'm an old school dinosaur. So at first for me, that was like, you can't see you're just 18, but they can't. What is happening in their life is what's happening in their life. And they look, there's a lot of emotions and feelings at the time, So I learnt to basically, when we were at training, I'd give them the hand of hard training. Then after training, I'd give them the other hand, which was listening to them, helping them work through things and as such. But when I left there, I had a lot of the players still contact me. Then the players would tell other players to contact me. And then I'd get a phone call from, a company or one of the players' dads who was running a company and wanted me to jump in and help there. So between 2007 to 2012, like I had a few clients, like I had tennis player, a boxer, power lifters, people along those lines, a sprinter. And so I would do two things with them, or just one thing, whatever they wanted, which was mainly the strength and conditioning side, and the mentoring side. So in 2012, Michael Maguire comes over from England and he goes to the Rabbitohs. There was a gentleman, a really, brilliant man called Kurt Riggles, and Madge was saying to him, "Look, we need to find someone that's big, tall, and ugly, and that can hit these players around." And Riggles said, "I got the guy for you." So I went in, and then Madge and I just kicked it. We just connected really well, So he asked me to join in, which was part-time role, which I did. So I would go in there, and so you have two sides of it. You have the on-feet conditioning, which is the running, the speed work, the skills, and then you have your off-feet stuff. So the off-feet stuff to me was the boxing and kickboxing side, and everything that I had learnt through. And so basically, their sessions were hell for me, with me, So it was like it wasn't about the conditioning side. It was more about the resilience and, making them more, mentally tough to go through those times when they're really, really tired, that they can understand that they have more left in them, and there's always more if the mind wants to go there, So I was part of that squad. Was very blessed to do the lap of honour in 2014 when the club won the grand final, and then I left it in 2015 for two reasons. Number one, I was really, really busy. But the most important one for me, if I'm honest with you, was after 2015, I said to Madge, "You need to find someone else now, right? Because I've said all I can say with the playing group. Everything is going to now become repetitive. I don't want to make this about me. I want to make it about the team moving forward, And so at that time, Madge and I had developed a great personal relationship, and we're still great mates till the day, We speak quite often, like I still do with a lot of the coaches. So I was really aware of they need a new voice, because they've heard my voice, for 3 years now, and I've done everything that I can. But I explained to the players, you need anything, you just call me, I'll be there. And they did do that, So, and then basically evolving from there, I was very blessed to pick up work, go over to England and do some work with the, here we go, old age memory, Warrington Wolves, with a good friend of mine there, Steve Price. So during my journey, if I may, I've been very, very blessed to work or be mentored by a lot of people in different areas of work aspects in life. Like, for example, there was a gentleman called Ashley Jones, and about year 2000, I had to do one of these courses, to get a ticket or something, for rugby league, and someone started talking about Ashley Jones and how great he was. So I was like, geez, I've got to contact this guy. Right now, at that time, I think he was with the Crusaders and the All Blacks. So I found his email and I sent him an email. And to my surprise, mate, he responded to me and he sent me all these programs. So from that time onward, we've developed this relationship still to today, where he still mentors me and I bounce things off him, like Michael Maguire, uh, people don't truly know that guy. He's very, very switched on. He's an intellect, he does things really well, I was blessed to work with great doctors, Dr. McDonald from the Rabbitohs, Paul Arnett from the Dragons, Andrew Gray, high performance manager, like Sean Edwards, like Ephraim Bungarik, like and Eddie Farrer from the Rabbitohs. So what I tried to do was, I most probably was an annoyance to them because I just kept on asking them questions. I wanted to learn, And I did the same thing when it came to understanding people and how they work. And the way I sort of put it all together is, I'm not a psychologist, nor am I a psychiatrist, and I don't try to be one. I just not. So for me, if you came on board, Tom, so for me, it's really important for me to develop that one-on-one relationship, and understand who you are, where you come from, and how you want to go forward. But more importantly, for me is, do you want to do this? Do you want to work with me? Because I might get a phone call saying, hey, I'd like you to come in and work with my manager. I'll go, okay, no problem. So one of my first meetings, I get to talk to him. I tell him a bit about myself. And basically then I'll ask him the question, do you want to do this, or are you forced to do this? And if he says, look, I don't really want to do it, then I'll say, that's not an issue at all. Honestly, you're not offending me, you're not insulting me. And then I'll speak to the head manager, whoever it is, the owner of the company, say, look, this is not the right time for him. And you get other people say, what would you do that for? You're getting yourself out of a job. I was like, well, it's not about a job for me. It's not about, it's if I'm there to take upon a certain role, then it's my job to ensure that I do that role the best I can. And you need that buy-in from people, that want to do it. So that's the long story put short, So, and then look, last but least, I guess, everyone has a journey in life, everyone. And from that journey, we have millions or hundreds of thousands of moments, and those moments where I go, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or I could have done that better, and that. So for me, when I'm working with someone, I'm honestly sharing with them all my failures, and okay, this is what I did, and this is what, what you can do. And I don't work off a certain, okay, procedure, do this and do this and do this and then do that, then you tick that. So for me, the most important part is understanding the person, where they're at in life, and how they feel or how they want me to assist them, And if they got the buy-in, then it becomes very easy, mate. Yeah.
I think thanks for sharing that. There's lots of things to unpack there. There's lots of things that I can personally relate to as well. I'm sure some of the audience will as well. Obviously, a good mentor has failed many times over. I couldn't agree with that more. We talk about mistakeology as a facet here, and it talks to that point where we need to change our relationship with failures quite a bit. Probably my big takeaway here initially, and this is probably really good for anybody listening to this on whatever stage they're at with their journey, is things must always be done on their terms, okay? Or talking the other way around, on your terms, okay? So mentally, and this is at a subconscious level, an unconscious level, okay? we must really want to do what we're about to do, whatever the action is, whatever the commitment is. It's like when people say, I want to stop smoking, great, I'm going to go to a hypnotherapist, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, da, 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 but deep down they don't want to do it, it's not going to happen, okay? And there's too many things where someone's volunteering you on your behalf, you're doing it for other people, which intrinsically means you're not going to succeed. You know, if you do, it's going to be an easy relapse,
Most
if you
definitely,
like.
buddy. Most
And
definitely.
and I think it's really important that we cultivate and validate that situation. I think
Yeah.
you hit a really good point there.
I think in what you just said there, so in what you just said, I couldn't agree with any more in what you said. You know. Now, what's that saying that I always use? Now I forget. You can't force change, but sometimes change needs to be forced. You know. So it's hard creating new habits and disciplines if you're not, you know, used to it, you know. And then our conditioned behavior comes in, and oh no, I won't go, or no, okay, don't worry about that. But at the end of the day, like when someone commits to something, then that's when you're going to get, when they truly commit to something and are willing to do what needs to be done for change, then I'm not the main source of the change. They are, you know. And a lot of people out there, and with all due respect to them, you know, and this is why I don't do much social media, because I don't do it well. I don't know how to do it, you know. Is that they'll go out there and they'll go, hey, John Rahm here from Neptune's Calibrations, mate. Just want to let you know, been working with Tom Hitchcock, sorry. And yeah, so he's doing fantastic. I helped him doing this, helped him doing this. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You assisted him. You were the water boy. You were the carrier. You know, give credit where credit is due. Yeah, you assisted him. You know, but if that person doesn't want to do it, then it's not going to happen, Tom. You know.
It's interesting you say that because we talk about this a lot. So we've got lots of clients we coach with in different shapes and forms, through myself, other people in the organisation, but no one ever knows who they are. Yeah, unless they want people to know
100%.
who they are. And it's really important to talking to your exact point is, you know, they do everything. And I tried with this business coaching earlier, and I preempt this. Okay, your ROI, what you're doing. Okay, is so I'm just losing my thread slightly there.
That's okay.
It's not an immediate quick fix. It's not an instant gratification point. Okay. I'm not going to be here waving a magic wand and doing the things that you need to do. What happens is you do everything, and if I do my job correctly, you should almost feel ripped off. You're not telling me anything. I'm doing it all myself.
100%, buddy. 100%. I agree with you, mate. I'm going to share with you a quick story with this.
Yeah.
I'm going to say one quick story, then another quick story. So when I was at the Dragons, I could be quite boisterous when I was training the kids and the boys, you know. And I wasn't getting a response from a lot of the Pacific Islander boys, you know. And when I was talking to them, they'd do this. And I'm like, mate, look me in the eye. I'm talking to you, you know. So I got pulled up and by Steve Price, who's good, you know. And he said to me, JR, so if you ask anyone in rugby league, do you know John Rahm? They'll say no. If you say JR, they know me, you know, because that's what my nickname was. And he said to me, JR, listen, mate, you're missing something here. These Islander boys, these Pacific Islander boys, right? Tonga, Samoa, Cook Islands, New Zealand, a lot of them have religious families, right? And they're very religious. And you're standing there swearing at them like a trooper. And I was like, oh. He goes, and when you're talking to them and they drop their head, you think that's a sign of disrespect. It's not. It's a sign of respect, because with their elders, they put their head down. So culturally, that was something I had to learn, and something that I learned with every person. That's why I'd like to go into their background. On to the other point was I was asked, if you and I could do this, we'd be billionaires. And if you know a way to do this, I'm telling you, we'll kill it. We'll retire next year. So there was two business owners in the same company. I went in there, they were talking to me, and I was trying to explain to them, you know, this is It's a long journey. It's not a quick fix. If you think this is going to take anything less than 6 months, you're kidding yourself. And don't waste your time, And I don't want to waste your time. It's going to be more so after the 6 month period to the year you'll start seeing changes if they want the changes. One of the business partners said to me, okay, so what if we paid you to come in with all our site managers, all the foremen, everyone, and you spoke to them and you motivated them, right? Will that then for the next year, will that lift up productivity, and we'll all become better? I remember looking at him, saying to him, if I could do that, I'd be a billionaire, you know? And I think that's what a lot of the misunderstanding is with what you were saying with your clients and stuff. It's just there's a journey that needs to take, And sometimes it becomes very uncomfortable for people because they start revealing things about themselves that they never wanted to reveal, you know. But if I may just add this on before I hand it over to you again, is that I always start off with the same couple of sentences to every new client. Okay, so when we sit down, I say to them, look, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. Okay. What you say to me and what I say to you stays between us. Now, if your boss came into this room after and said to me, what did he say? Or what did she say? Or what did they say? My answer to them would be, it's not your business. I can't tell you. Right? If that means that he's going to sack me for not telling you what you've told me, then that's fine by me. The only time that I will say something to someone is if, in my unprofessional opinion, I feel that you are going to hurt yourself or hurt someone physically. That's when I'll say something. And I think that's how I've always been, with that developing the relationship with people.
Yeah, you need that layer of duty of care, and it's fully understandable in those situations and justifiable. I do think that things need to remain confidential because your choice of words just before was the key. It's vulnerability. Okay, so we've all got persona. We've all got persona for different situations. You're at home, your partner with the guys doing a toolbox meeting. You're in the pub.
Yes,
You're in the rugby league field doing some strength and conditioning, or you're arguing with your missus and the Queen knocks at the door. You're going to change very quickly. We've got different personas.
most definitely.
But the persona we need when we're doing the mentoring, the coaching, and the things that actually enable change is a very personal one. It's one without the facades.
Yep.
Number one, number two, number three, get the layer down. Okay, where people couldn't feel comfortable to swear, to validate stupid ideas. So just be absolutely themselves. Okay, and that's where the magic happens. That's the magic spot. Now, you will never get to that if there isn't a strict code of confidentiality. It's impossible. Because you're just going to get the facade. You're going to get, yeah, brilliant, great, lip service, done. You might get some surface level change, but nothing long lasting or highly impactful.
I totally agree with you, mate. And that they need to feel, look, they need to feel safe, first of all, with you. And it's not just about the physical side that, they're not going to get hurt or whatever, but basically the mental side, that they're safe with you, they're in a safe space and they can be open. And mate, there's a lot of time, and I must add this about myself. I had to learn to listen better when I first started. Yeah. Okay. So as you're talking and you're expressing yourself, bang, I've got the answer. So I interrupt and go, blah, 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 And then I realized that I did more talking than the other person did. Now, sometimes that may happen because you're explaining things to them. But that was something that if I could give anyone a suggestion to is that. So one of the advantages that I feel was one of my strengths when I was working on a building site as a site manager was, if you could imagine, mate, I could have any up to 100 to 200 people on that job, even 250 people, So I used to walk around the job every morning was my first thing. I would walk around and say good morning to every single person and shake their hand. And they were taken back Tom. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you're shaking my hand. Like, you're saying good morning to me. How are you? You know? And every single person, I would say good morning to him in a almost different manner, you know, because you get to understand their personality, as I'm sure you've dealt with, yeah? So your personality is different to that guy over there, you know, and to that person over there. So you've got to then put that cloak of, I need to change, you know,
Mhm.
and deal with the person and what their personality is. So when I would do that, I did that for a reason also. I wanted to have two things. I wanted to have people, if they've come to work and they've got a lot of stuff on their head, when I said, "Hey mate, how are you? How you going today?" Right? I'd know straight away by their answer whether they're not well or not, you know? Then I gave them the opportunity, mate, is everything okay? Right? If they wanted to open up, they can open up. No, it's all good. Okay, no problem, you know? But then you have that awareness of what's happening around you, you know, with someone, you know? So I was very, very, very big on that, you know?
And I think that's a good point because, firstly, I think in a cynical manner that listening's a skill that's receded somewhat, much like our hairlines.
Yeah,
Especially, sorry, I
yeah, oh,
thrown
mate,
you
I'm
under the
with
bus
you.
at the same time as myself, so
Yeah,
it voids itself out.
yeah,
Um, especially active listening, you know, is people listen to respond, as we probably are on here because we're listening to each other to respond, but
mm,
there's a difference. There is a difference in a skill set, which I'd say to sort of acquire if you haven't got it, because you're going to stand out. You know,
yeah,
same as your common courtesy, which is less common these days. I think what comes out of what you're doing there with, in the macro sense, is you're picking up people's baseline. Okay, so once you can see the same, you understand there's slight variations, you know,
yeah,
so whatever it may be, then you notice a spike one way or the other. Okay,
yes, yeah,
and they're both worth acknowledging. They're both worth keeping an eye on. You know, so that's a really good activity. I do want to. We're getting close to wrapping this up now,
yeah,
John.
okay, no
Okay.
problem, buddy. Yeah,
The I want to pick up one thing, and this is something that probably can't happen in the Western world, at least, any longer.
yeah,
Um, that's being a doorman age 16. Okay, you wouldn't get the license. We know that.
no, no chance. No, no, no,
But
no,
so this makes that experience unique. All right, this
yeah,
makes it because it's not going to happen again. Okay. Um, yeah, obviously a stocky, well-built 16-year-old, but you've got a 16-year-old brain, okay,
yes,
that tends not to
yes,
go hand in hand with security particularly well, in
yes.
my opinion.
No, not your opinion, it's the truth. Yes, yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Tell us a bit about what you learned and because you put yourself pretty much front line, at a very young age, which, you know, no wonder you didn't tell your parents because we already
yeah,
know what the answer
yeah,
would have been if you'd
yeah,
asked them. That's him.
yeah. So I did it first of all for two reasons. Now, all being straight up and honest with you, number one was ego, 100%, you know. And the other part was they thought I was 18 because I looked 18, 19, you know, and it was good money. Now, I was blessed to work with a gentleman who ran the business really, really well, you know, and he took me under his wing and basically taught me how to gauge the crowd and what to do and where to be at certain times, you know. And then it was also so then when that, when he taught me that and time went on, you knew where it was going to start straight away. So basically, we would start the night. I'd be on the not at the beginning, but when I'd learned how to do it, I'd be on the front door, right, always, you know. And it was up to me who I let in and not let out. And generally, you know the characters around, you know, so you know if you're going to let these guys in or these girls in or whoever in, there's going to be an issue, you know. So I'd rather the issue be on the front door and not go inside of the club and cause issues, you know, and cause other patrons not to come back. So then once the club was full, then I would go inside and I'd set myself right next to the dance floor, in between the dance floor and the bar, you know, and that's where it was all going to happen. So yeah, there was some hairy events that I still don't know how I got out of. I was blessed, to be honest with you, because I'm not Jason Bourne or James Bond or anything of that sort, you know. So I was very blessed in that side. I keep on saying that because I'm just grateful for getting out of that life at the right time too, you know, because things were going a little bit, you know, haywire. But I don't, when I say I don't drink, I might have a beer or something every once in a while, but if I'm at a party and basically I see someone they're drinking, there's a certain time that I leave. Because so going through that whole period, everything I saw was alcohol fueled violence, you know? And look, there were some dodgy clubs we worked at a young age, you know? Again, that was ego driven. But it did teach me a lot, mate, you know, of when it's best to stand down and try to diffuse a situation, you know, or how to act quickly to diffuse a situation, which means basically if it's going to start, just grab one guy, get out of there, get him out, you know. So at first it didn't go quite well because it was all about ego, you know. But then you learn very quickly that you're not that good. That's the truth, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It's a nice way to wrap this up. I think that's a good story, and I think the younger people listening to this will relate to that rather than where we are now, talking about our mentorship side of journey.
Yeah.
I'm gonna nickname you Noah, though. I hope you don't mind. I don't think anyone's called you Noah before, but I
No.
have. Okay, because there's always two things. That's me listening to you. So there's two stories, two things.
Two
One
things
time,
always,
two
mate.
times. It's like Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
So
Oh, God help me, mate. This has
yeah.
been great. I really appreciate it. I watched a lot of your podcasts. I think you do great work, mate. You know, it's good to listen to everyday people talk about their everyday selves, and they're not 21-year-old influencers. You know.
You're right. Yeah, and you know, listen, we'll talk to anybody and let them share their story and that, and I'm glad you're enjoying it, and hope
Yeah.
you continue to do so. As I hope people enjoyed this episode. Anybody listening to this episode, John, and wants to reach out to you, what would be the best method for them to make contact?
Email or phone call. You know.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
do I say it now?
Well, what we do is stick it in the comments
Okay.
when it goes
Okay.
live, and put
Yep.
it in there, and people make contact with you
Yeah.
that way.
Not a
That'd
problem.
be the way to do it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Right.
Thank you.
That's me. I've got nothing else to say. Listen, thanks again for your time, John, and I'll speak to you again soon, I'm sure.
Thank you, mate.
Hello again, I am Mr. Purple. Thanks again for watching this video. If you like my videos, if you like what we try to do here, please subscribe if you haven't done it already. The other thing that's very popular right now is the t-shirts, the Mr. Purple t-shirts. There's lots of people wearing these at the moment. You can grab yours on our website, copying this link below. So once again, thanks for listening. We love your feedback. Engage with us and speak soon.